Good morning. We thank you for being here. Appreciate the effort that you made to come visit with us today. This is simply a briefing for our community and for you on a homicide investigation that we have received a first-degree murder indictment on as of yesterday. The message we want to leave with you today as we go through this case is that families of murder victims need to be assured that we, as the Lakeland Police Department, will continue to diligently investigate all cases to bring this to closure for the families and for the community. We've had a couple of successes on these cases recently, and we just recently in 2008 on a cold case homicide was able to solve that. And here today we're going to talk about a murder case that occurred in 2009. Although that it did not qualify as what we would call a cold case because it's been an active investigation since the beginning, it is certainly a testament to the diligence of our investigators and to the Lakeland Police Department. Today we're talking about a murder case where our victim, her name is Shawn Hazel Turk, with a date of birth of 8/20/74. What we know of our victim is that she does have 2 children, 1 daughter and 1 son. Our defendant that we'll be talking about today is Reginald Riggins. Date of birth 10/8/77. Obviously he's 33 years of age. The case began with the discovery of Shawn's body on April the 15th of 2009. The location was here in Lakeland at 600 East Main Street, the AmTrak train station. As I said, we will give you some additional information on this case as we go through, but I'm going to give you a very brief outline of what this is all about. On April the 15th of 2009, the Lakeland Police Department was called to the 600 block of East Main Street here in Lakeland after the remains of an adult female were found on AmTrak property. It was determined that a woman identified as Shawn Hazel Turk, age 34, had died of asphyxia. Initially, through the investigation, as we know in most homicides, there are instant leads involving family, friends, co-workers, acquaintances of the victim. In this homicide, this was not the case. Shawn had only been in Lakeland for approximately 1 day before she was violently killed. Shawn had traveled to Lakeland from South Carolina with her boyfriend, a long-distance truck driver. They had gotten into an argument, and he put her out of the truck and left town, leaving her stranded here in Lakeland. The investigation indicates that she utilized payphones in the downtown area at a 24-hour food mart and the bus station in an attempt to contact relatives to acquire a way to get back home. The last phone call was made by Shawn at approximately 11 p.m. on April the 9th at the bus station right here next to the police department. Investigators believe that Shawn had already met Reginald Riggins and that he was standing with her at the time she made the last phone call from the bus station. One reason that Shawn may not have attempted to contact police for assistance is because she believed she had an outstanding warrant and because Shawn also had a substance abuse problem. Investigators also believe that Riggins met Shawn at the bus station and offered her crack cocaine in exchange for sex. The 2 of them walked to Lake Mirror and smoked crack cocaine, then walked over to the bus station. At this time, it is believed that Shawn refused to have sex with Riggins, which Riggins then attacked her and killed her. In July of this year, investigators here at the Lakeland Police Department received a tip that led police to Reginald Riggins. Riggins was also a suspect in a homicide that occurred in Fort Myers, Florida. Due to the tenacity of our investigators, particularly of Detective Brad Grice, who is here with me today, this lead was brought forward. Detectives of the Lakeland Police Department traveled to St. Petersburg and worked with other agencies to facilitate the apprehension of Riggins. The homicide case in Fort Myers and that of Shawn Hazel Turk in Lakeland have been brought to their proper conclusion because of the multiple and multi-agency cooperation and assistance in working this case. Yesterday, on August the 12th of 2011, the grand jury indicted Riggins for the murder of Shawn Hazel Turk. Riggins will now stand trial for these 2 homicides. With that, I will address any questions that anyone has.
Can you talk a little more about how she was killed and how her body was left here behind the AmTrak station?
I'll give a general overview of that. I can't get in great detail. He apparently had struck her, and once she was on the ground, he strangled her and then used a foreign object in part of her clothing that resulted in her dying of asphyxiation. This individual served a 5-year prison sentence and was released April 6 of 2009. He departed a Greyhound bus and in and around Orlando, Florida, had a family member bring him to Lakeland where he had other associates that he knew. While he was here in Lakeland, just for about 3 days, he did several things that we could connect him to Lakeland, and one of those latter things that he did was meet our victim, Ms. Turk. And based on, without going in great detail, based on what the investigation shows, her phone calls, when they were made, and especially the last one, we can connect that phone call and we can connect this individual's statement that he was present during that phone call.
All right, we can do any additional follow-up or any sound bites. Terry has some additional information, or we're available for anything additional you may have. Thank you all very much for being here.